Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe. Today we have a knife review for you guys, and we're going back to the OG of bushcraft knives, or the closest thing you can get to the OG of bushcraft knives, and that is the Kephart knife, made famous by the famous camping backwoodsman, bushcrafter, OG godfather, patron saint of the knife world, Horace Kephart. Now, this is the closest you can get to the reproduction, simply because I know there's a tons of videos out on it, but I'm going to talk about why I like mine. Closest you can get to the Horace Kephart original knife that he designed, because I think there's only 2 or 3 known in existence. Ethan Becker of Becker Knives, which is partnered up with Kephart, designed, built this knife off of, he was able to get his hands off of one of the very few remaining knives that was designed and made by a knife company. I'll post the information here on the screen so you can see it. This was the original design that he came up with and sold around the turn of the century-ish, kind of, sort of, maybe. Don't quote me on the dates. And the other one, I think, is in a museum somewhere in my homeland of the Smokies. Somewhere in the homeland, one of the museums, I can't remember which one, is the other one. So I think there's only 2 known in existence, but this one is kind of pretty close. And I'm going to talk about why I really like this knife, why it's awesome, a knife I have that's my favorite knife that's very similar to it, and what I think Ethan Becker, yes, you, Ethan Becker, if you're seeing this video, what you screwed up on. Or maybe not. Just my opinion. So, let's dive into it. This is a made in the USA knife. Nice leather sheath. Very similar to the one that was designed. Like I said, this is very similar. And the reason why, oh no, the cardinal sin. This is a bushcraft knife that does not have a Scandi grind on it. I know that's going to get everybody mad. And honestly, all jokes aside, this knife probably is one of the greatest knives ever made, in my opinion. And this is coming from somebody using it, and I've owned 3 of these. This is the 3rd one that I own, or owned. Long story short, friend of mine's kid, he went backpacking on a backpacking trip with me right before the festivities of 2020 happened. This was like in late 2019. No. It was January 2020 when the world went insane. But anyways, he went backpacking with a big group of us. I got together, and he was a young wee lad and had no money and was pretty ghetto. And he went backpacking with a fixed blade gas station knife that broke numerous times, and he had duct tape and, you know, all this crazy stuff on it. And basically about a few months later, he decided he was going to move to Alaska all on his lonesome. And basically I gave him one of these that I had, because homeboy couldn't go to Alaska with a piece of crap Chinesium gas station knife and have it break apart and cut an artery in the middle of Alaska. He still lives in Alaska and still uses this knife up in Alaska for crabbing and skinning game and fishing and all this other stuff. And so it's kind of cool that I was able to give him a high quality knife that he's still using years later. And so, yeah, and the other one I had of this, I also gave to another friend of mine that was a brokey and had no money at the time, and he needed a good knife, and I gave him one. So this is the 3rd one, and this is mine. So yeah, full flat grind. There is some problems with this knife, but we're not going to get to that just yet. Great handle, you know, just very traditional, very traditional. I mean, a lot of people say this looks like a steak knife, but all in all, it is a phenomenal knife. You have a little bit of a finger guard on here, a little bit of a bump, if you can see that, to kind of help your hand from sliding up forward. And the other great thing about this that I really like is just the overall traditionalist. The sheath is superb. I will say the sheath is absolutely superb on this, and I'll show you why I think the sheath is superb. Oh, by the way, this is 1095 Crovan, and I'm not a big 1095 knife, but they do very good with their treatment on this knife and everything. I'm an 01 Tool Steel guy, but overall, awesome knife. I'm probably going to carry this for a little bit during the summer on backpacking just because it's so light. But look at this. I love how the sheath, the loop comes up. It's just a very low riding sheath. I mean, you know, you can see on my belt, if it hangs, if I was to put it on my belt right here, see how it hangs? Just very comfortable, very easy to pull out, right? And that was kind of the design by Horace Kephart. I have another similar knife. I featured this in a few other videos. This was made by Woody Smith. Custom made this for me. It's a hybrid. It is a flat grind. If you'll notice, it's very similar. A little bit different on the edge here, but this is a flat grind. But if you can see there, it's got a bunch of stuff from the holster, the sheath. This turns into a Scandi. See that? Check it out. Turns into a Scandi. Do have some thumb scallops for doing different tasks and different ways to grab this. And, you know, freaking, it's great. Super nice knife. Very beefy, full handle. I love how much real estate you have on this knife. But this video is not about that knife. I'm just showing you just the comparison. They're very similar, and you can see why I like them. And I love these style handles. I don't like stuff with contours and grooves. I just like very simple handles. And this knife is just, I mean, what can you say about it? Well, here's what I can say. What is the negative? Negative, it does not have a 90-degree spine. I'm probably going to file this off before I take a trip. But yeah, it doesn't have a 90-degree spine, so it will not throw a spark with a ferro rod unless you file that down. That's one thing that was screwed up on this. I mean, it does have a coating, but it's not too bad. It's like a stone wash, with kind of a stone wash gloss coating on it, which is not terrible. My biggest complaint, I can fix this, no problem. But the biggest complaint I have, where Ethan Becker screwed up, in my opinion, is why the heck would you have a traditional replica of a almost 100-year-old design and put frickin' bolts in it, screws, whatever you want to call it? Why would you do this? Why? It would be such a better knife if you just put pins in it. See, I mean, it would be like almost identical to the original. Why would you do this? It just, I love the knife, but every time I look at it and I see this crap abomination that was done to it. Yeah, I know. They went through a phase where they put they were selling micarta handles, scales for it, which wasn't too bad, I guess. But they were selling micarta handle scales, which wasn't too bad to swap it out. But honestly, you don't buy a knife that you advertise is the most accurate, built off of the exact one of the last remaining ones on the planet Earth that's known of. And then you go and alter it like this. Why would you do that? And honestly, I'm probably going to make a video where I'm going to try to take this off, somehow find something that'll fix this, and I'm going to personally, eventually try to make the handles correct and put pins in it and then get rid of this. The only problem I have is I'll have to get another piece of wood, because see how this is etched out for the hex? I'm going to have to get a different piece of wood and monkey around with this and try to get it right. But I'm going to try to eventually. Unless I find a subscriber out there that is better doing this than me and wants to take a whack at it, you know. But honestly, all that aside, it's a super nice, great knife. I like it for backpacking just because of the historical heritage of it. And I mean, it's very light. I'll give you an example. Let's see here. Actually, we'll compare it. Let's compare it with my scale. I bought one because I had another one. I lost it, and all you whiners in the comment section keep asking me, how much does this weigh? How much does this weigh? So I was like, all right, fine, I'll buy another one. So this knife, which is my all-time favorite that has been with me everywhere, weighs, let's see, 0.81 pounds. So not even a pound. And let's see here. Actually does do ounces. Let's do ounces on here. So this knife is 12.9 ounces. That is for the wood muck from Woody Smith. And the Kephart. Let's see here. We will redo it. All right, we're going to redo it, and boom. 8.2. 8.2. So almost half. Almost half, right? Redneck math, almost half. Not bad, you know. So for when you want to go ultra light, not a bad knife. And that was kind of the idea behind that's kind of the idea behind why Horst Kephart wanted it. Something light. His philosophy, and I know you're going, well, you can't really baton with it. Well, you can. You can baton with this, and you definitely can baton with one that I have from Woody. I baton with this a ton. But Horst Kephart was a very practical man. And his thoughts were, you can't use a knife to do the job of a hatchet. And honestly, you know, weight aside, yeah, carrying both. But this is what he had in mind. When he designed this knife, he had in mind something this is a Grand Force. But, you know, I think they call this the Hunter Axe or something like that. I can't remember. But this is like one of the smallest ones they make. Super lightweight. This is good for splitting small tinder for a fire. And then you have this. This was the original combo that he had in mind and is the most practical. Yeah, it's a little heavy, but honestly, it's the most practical. This is what this knife was designed to be used with. Can you baton with this backpacking or doing whatever without this? Absolutely. I've done it numerous times. So, moral of the story, great knife. I would say get one. You can pick it up for around 150 bucks. You can find them a little bit cheaper on eBay. Definitely a good knife to have for the outdoorsman. If anything, just to add to your collection because of the historical significance of it and the fact that it's the OG Bushcraft knife. So, just my thoughts on the knife. I hope you guys liked it. Wanted to show it to you because I really like the knife. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. We'll catch you on the next video. And stay safe in the great outdoors.